Let's get some reaction on that now from our big guns of politics.
Environment Minister Tony Burke and Shadow Treasurer Joe Hockey. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Thanks for coming in. Tony, has the government had any contact with Ecuadorian officials since all this has happened?
I'm not aware of any contact. We've put some calls in this morning, but we haven't been able to establish that any contact's been made. I mean, essentially, from Australia's perspective, this dispute is between the UK and Ecuador. Julian Assange is an Australian citizen. If he wants consular support, it's offered, it's available, but the legal dispute here is not one.
So he hasn't asked for it?
That's correct.
Consular support? Because he's saying he's been sort of left like a shag on a rock by the Australians. You're saying he hasn't asked us to do anything?
The offer of consular support is still there.
Right.
Because I think his statement, we've got that, but he basically says it's a Latin American nation that stood up and protected him, not his home country. Joe, should we have been doing more, or have we done all we can?
I think that the government's handled this the right way. There are precedents, and Koshy might remember this one from 1954. It's the Petrov affair, and Mrs. Petrov was a Soviet citizen. You remember that, Koshy, who was being escorted out of the country, and Australia intercepted her at Darwin Airport. She was being escorted by Soviet officials and given asylum here in Australia. Now, she was given safe passage as a Soviet citizen, but we intercepted it. So there are precedents to cut the other way.
Have you been contacted by the US to say, play hardball on this? You know, his view is that this is all being set up by the US because he leaked all that stuff about governments as well, our government, the American government, and he's being set up in Sweden. Have the Americans sort of contacted you guys and said, hey, let's play hardball, we've got to get this way?
No, and can I say, I don't understand this part of the argument, because America's got an extradition treaty with the UK anyway. So this whole argument that by sending him to another country, extradition could suddenly happen. Okay. With the United Kingdom, that's already in place. So, and America's made no attempt to extradite him.
Except I don't think it's the UK that would prosecute him for breach of security the way the US would, or espionage. It's because he's being sent to Sweden, and the Americans have a different arrangement with the Swedes. So I think there's a third angle there that I think needs to be flushed out.
All right, next topic, big week obviously with asylum seeker situation. We've seen the bill passed, Manus Island, Nauru now starting to prepare to see asylum seekers arriving. Tony, is there a timetable? How long do you think it'll take before everything's up and running?
Well, things start today. So teams go to Nauru today. There's effectively for Nauru and Manus Island, for each of the two locations, it's something in the order of about 15 defence people and then another 10 from other agencies involved in establishing the centres and setting them up.
Okay, Joe, you're happy to get it through? Basically, this is what you wanted all along?
Well, it's a third of what we wanted. I mean, what a terrible... Well, the other two things are we want the government to reintroduce temporary protection visas, and we want the government, where it's possible, to turn back the boats. So we've got a 3-point plan. This is 1 point. But how sad it is, after Kevin Rudd reversed our solution...
You're saying this all the time, but
it's true,
you'll just push it through.
But, I mean, 20,000 people have come on boats, but 1,000 people have died. Okay. And, you know, now they realise, after having this committee, that, you know, this is the way to go. It's just been a sad episode all round.
Yeah, there's blame lines that can be thrown around. There's things that people put to me that I can throw back. Yeah. I just think we're dealing with it.
Yeah,
we've heard this argument before. What about the news that this latest batch of people that came out on boats rescued by a freighter and basically held them hostage, the captain, saying, take us to Australia or else. Should we be bringing back the SAS to do the boardings like the Howard government did?
Well, the police will deal with this, and the police are conducting investigations into the Australian Federal Police.
But under the Howard government, it was SAS guys who were meeting the boats.
Yeah, well,
should we start doing that again?
The intention here is to get to a situation where there aren't boats to meet. That's the intention to get with.
Up till that time, should we do SAS?
Look, at the moment, the AFP, the way they're working, I think is the right way to deal with it.
All right.
Well, look, we would have taken a harder line. That's pretty obvious. We met them with the SAS on boats, and they never got to shore. In this case, they got to shore. You know, so it's a different approach that we have to the government.
All right. Thanks both for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. I know you've got the gold tie.
No, I borrowed it from Channel 7. Thank you, Channel 7.
He borrows their tie every day. He never turns up with a tie.
As long as he leaves at
I was going to
7:30,
keep this
that's
one for the day
okay.
too, actually. I'm going to send
Yeah.
Mr Stokes the
Post
bill.
it back. All right. Thanks, guys, very much. It is 20 minutes past 7 o'clock.